University of Iowa, and I'm going to talk, I think, as we discussed, mainly, come in everybody, mainly about Roy's enormous contribution institutionally, particularly to the American Historical Association. Thank you for coming.
And the OAH.
And the OAH.
And the OAH.
Yes.
So, I thought, don't block me, Deborah.
I'm getting back.
Yeah, okay. Don't block Deborah. Because I have a story that maybe, quite possibly, Deborah doesn't know. So I offer it to you, but you may know it, in which case I offer it to those of you who don't. Which is what I think of when I think of Roy. The first encounter, the first thing I think of is this story. So some of you may remember back in, I met Roy, I should say, when we were on the executive board of the organization, American Historians. And I can't even remember what roles we played in it, except that maybe it was, I think it was when we were both just members of the board, and then he was on it when I was president, and presidents of the OAH have something like 1 year before and 1 year of being president and 3 postgraduate years. So you are assigned for a long time. And someplace in that came the great Adams Mark crisis, which some of you may remember in 2000, when the NAACP and the Department of Justice brought a lawsuit against the Adams Mark Hotel for discrimination. It is time everybody learned that when an organization like ours, when a learned society cancels a meeting at short notice, we are exposed for a lot of money. We were exposed for $500,000, and that was virtually 2/3 of the endowment of the organization American Historians. Next time you hear somebody suggest that you boycott a meeting and cancel a contract, think about what it is you're asking for. What happened in St. Louis was that the OAH fought back. We were clever, and thanks to Father Biondi at St. Louis University, we did not break our contract, but we moved the meeting. And we undertook to pay the expenses of that move, which included carpet for their gym, so that we would not muck it up with our book exhibits. And also to steel ourselves against the lawsuit and counter-lawsuit. And what happened, and some of you may remember, that the OAH turned to its membership for financial support. And we sat in that executive board, and we said to each other, some of us knew something about fundraising, and we knew that you could not ask a membership to make serious donations unless the board had committed itself. And I think we were asking the board for a $1,000 person commitment, so that we would merge with $15,000 that we could then turn to the membership and say, we have that $15,000. That's a lot of money. And it was a lot of money. It was a lot more money in 2000, although we said you could pay it out over 3 years, which is a very good thing to remember when you fundraise. And the executive board of the OAH came up with, I don't know, 8,000, 7,000. But there were people, we're all underpaid historians. People didn't have the money, and they didn't want to make a many-year commitment. And Roy and I scratched our heads. And finally we said, well, people respond to a match. So, an anonymous donor had offered to match what the monies that came in to top off our goal for the executive board, so that we could then go responsibly to our membership. You know who the anonymous donors were. And I don't know. In the end, we got most of the money, so I don't think we really had to get much over $12,000. But you might want to check your checkbook. I want to say into this room just a couple of thoughts about the part of Roy that some of you know better than others, and that is the life he lived in the learned societies of our profession. The program here today has its weaknesses, it has its virtues, it has its weaknesses, and there are still, you know, people standing up and reading boring papers. But the concept that that didn't have to be the only way in which a program is organized, that there were many ways of shaking up a gathering of historians, that the film, the fact that we have films running all the time, the fact that we have the poster session running all the time, that is Roy's baby.